barely a minute until... Alright, it's 7 already. I was a bit late today, but I barely made it. Okay, welcome to today's class. Today we are going to do our usual warm-up routine. And we are focusing on some soft acrobatics today, some movement stuff. So I'm super excited to see how that goes. And we will do some lever training, some front lever and back lever. So for those of you watching live, feel free to use the live chat to ask questions along the way. I will tell you guys when is extra nice to ask questions. And also, if there is anything wrong with the sound or with the video, also please feel free to let me know. All right, then, without further ado, let's start our warm-up. We start by doing small circles, opening, closing our hands. And we do larger circles just to get our shoulders going for today and our forearms. And we go bigger and bigger circles. You might notice that I'm at a different place today. I'm home visiting my parents, so I set up my studio here. Okay, and then the other way, starting with small circles, opening and closing our hands. And we go larger and larger circles. Larger and as big as we can. So for today, it's important also to have somewhere you can hang and not do pull-ups this time. Okay, that's good. But we're going to do some levers. I'll show you guys later, okay? Now, to just get our body going properly, let's do some squats like we usually do, some air squats. And we can also go down to the push-up position and do a push-up. And we can do the full burpee by adding some dynamics into it. Just to sort of wake up our bodies. All right. That's good. Now, as always, focusing on hips as well. You sit down in a deep squat, about shoulder width with our feet. And try and keep our heels also in the ground. And we can straighten our knees and try and get our elbows to the ground. Okay, we go a little bit outwards with our feet and we try and sit down again. Go as deep as we can with our ass. You know, sort of try and bump up and down a bit. And we straighten our knees. And also bumping, trying to get our elbows to the ground just as far as we can. Okay, continuing outwards a little bit with our feet as far down as we can. And we can now go from side to side. Nice. We straighten out again. And now we can sort of try and slide out as far as we can. Now this warm-up routine is very much similar to the one that I usually do or try to do. So I usually use my warm-ups to focus on opening shoulders, hips, and strengthening my wrists. Okay, that is good. Okay, moving on. Let's focus on our wrists first. We can do some circles and open and close our hands just to sort of get our wrists going. So all different directions. We can try and sort of push the wrist or the palms down as hard as we can while squeezing as well. Should feel your forearms cramping up, which is sort of the point. And then the other way, trying to sort of squeeze the palms down as hard as we can while extending and closing, extending and closing. Okay, that's good. Now let's focus on some stretching. So starting with fingers facing forwards. And we do semicircles back and forth, leaning as far forward as we can, while maintaining palms all the way into the ground. So we go back and forth. Okay, now we can turn around, fingers facing backwards. Show this one from the side. And we can lean backwards. Try not to lift our palms from the floor, but keep them in the floor while leaning backwards. Straight elbows as well. Having flexible wrists is important to prevent wrist injuries when doing a lot of handstands and stuff. We go the other way around, so backside of our palms into the ground, straight elbows. And if we are struggling with this, we can always have our hands closer, even cross them. And the further out we go, the deeper the stretch. So you can always try and adjust it according to your own level. You can also do some squeezing in this position. So we close our fingers and extend them. All right, that's good. Now, let's do the wrist routine that we usually do in our warm-ups. So for those of you who have been with me a few times, you can already start to do one of these rounds. Otherwise, I will go through all of them. So the first one is up to our first knuckles like this. The next one is up to our fingers, straight fingers. We do 5 repetitions of each of these, and the last one is to the back side of our palms and up again. And we try and control our way down, not just drop down like this, but controlled, nice and easy. And to make all of these more difficult or more easy, the further forward your knees are, the easier it becomes. The further back, the harder. And you can also do them in a full push-up position. So let's just do one round of this. The last one can be quite painful, so if you have something to put under your hands when you're doing this, you should do that. Otherwise, you can do it on the floor. I can do it on the floor as well. All right, so let's just do 5 repetitions of each. When we're finished, you can just sit down, relax in a Pike Stretch like this. We usually stretch in between while waiting for everyone to be finished. So don't feel like you have to hurry through all of your sets. So just for the sake of it, I think we should do one more round of this. You never get a lot of strength from just doing one set, right? So let's do one more round of our wrist routine. I think this time I'll have some padding under my hands for the last one. Okay, I can do from the side this time in case you need to have a peek. So 5 repetitions of each. And remember to adjust your knees according to your level. All right. So just doing some Pike Stretch when waiting for the rest of the guys. And please let me know if I am hurrying too much, doing stuff too fast, or if something isn't clear. We have the live chat function for a reason. It's for you guys to have the best experience possible. All right, moving on. I was supposed to have another camera angle going on. No, seems like it's failing me, but I should be fine anyways. So starting just to warm up our shoulders. Sorry about that. So remember to push your navel upwards. Do not arch your back in this one. The point here is to stretch our shoulders, not our backs. So keep a holly bottom position and push your chest towards the ground. Okay. Nice. Now also, let's add some warm up for our upper backs before we do our bridge training for this training or this class. So just sort of pushing our chest up towards the roof and leaning backwards as far as we can and going up again. If we feel very comfortable doing this, we can try raising one arm and look back towards the wall. And we can do every other arm. And remember to have about shoulder width stance so you're not falling over in this one. And lastly, if we feel comfortable with one arm, we can use both arms. Now for this one, if we feel out of balance, we can also use the wall to sort of help us. And we just walk as far down as we can. I'll give you guys a minute or so to test out the progressions and stick with the one that you feel comfortable with today. Or you can challenge yourself by trying a new variation. Or you can come back to this class in a month and try a more advanced progression as well. Now let's just do 5 more reps of this, whatever progression that we are comfortable with. I'll stick with this one. Try also and tighten your glutes. It's an important key point to protect our lower back. All right. Now, backs should be nice and warm as well. Now, waiting for everyone to be finished, we can do some pike stretch. You can also use whatever stretch you would like yourself. Otherwise, I will suggest a few different stretches throughout our class that we can do in between our sets to get most out of our time. All right, now let's continue working our shoulders. We will be doing some bridge work and stuff for our movement fun part today. So it's important to properly warm up our shoulders. So today I'm using a resistance band like this. You can use a rope or a towel or whatever you have available. Even a blanket. So fingers, thumbs pointing inwards in our grip. We do our dislocations. I find that these dislocations are the most useful way of warming up my shoulders before doing a lot of shoulder work. I even feel more comfortable in my handstands early in my sessions if I do these before I start. So the further or the closer our hands are, the more difficult, obviously. So as you get comfortable, you can always try and adjust and challenge yourself by going a little bit closer. So the goal here would obviously be to do it like this. But I'm miles away from that as well. Okay. Now the other way. So with our stick or our band or towel or whatever we're using on the back side of our bodies, thumbs pointing outwards. We do our dislocations this way. Now, I actually recommend doing this with a stick. It's not bendable because you also get to include some rotation of the wrists. So you get a good stretch in a weird place in your wrists as well. But let's just use whatever we have available. Okay, I think that's good. Now, let's just move on to working our bridges. As always, if you are not comfortable doing bridges at all, you can always use this progression where you're having your arms along the wall and your chest against the wall, sort of just sticking your butt out and trying to lower your chest down. It will give you a nice stretch. If you are comfortable doing bridges, I strongly suggest you do that. So elevating your feet is a nice way to go in the beginning. And the higher my feet are, the easier it gets. So instead of using a chair, you can use whatever to elevate your feet. You can also use the wall. I can try and demonstrate. So just move away from the wall with our hands and try and get our butt down. That's a key point here. Butt down. Now, I do them on the floor, but if you are not able to straighten out your hands, you should elevate your feet. Now let's just work our bridges for a couple of minutes. So whenever you feel tired, just take a short break and then go back again. The bridge is a very strenuous exercise. So I usually do like 10 breaths in the bridge position. So I enter bridge, I hold it for 10 normal deep breaths, about 10. And something else, you can look between your hands or you can look up to the roof. I would say that looking between your hands emphasizes your back, while looking up to the roof puts more weight on your shoulders. So you can change in between and switch between. It's totally up to you. I would suggest to do both. Just as you please, I guess. Okay, let's just move on to our movement fun part, okay?